My name is Reese Vale, and everything I make starts with a story. Not a Pinterest board, not a trend report, a story. Portland hums in the background as I stitch rain dragging its fingers down the warehouse windows, the Willamette carrying rumors under the bridges, espresso machines exhaling like tired dragons. My studio sits at the edge of the central east side, red brick and old paint, a second-floor walk-up that smells like cedar oil and canvas dust. I'm 29. I design bags that don't cost the planet, cork that heals when cut, deadstock canvas that outlived the brand that ordered it, pineapple leather with a tough, forgiving grain. My materials line the wall in labeled bins, each sample card clipped with a date and a note in Sharpie. I document everything: process, photos, timestamps, receipts, because memory lies and paper doesn't. I call the line second nature. It looks like Portland. Utility with a softness, muted greens and storm blues, edges bound in recycled webbing that used to strap kayaks to Subarus. The flagship is a carryall that swallows a laptop, a box of tea, and the particular hope you need to walk into a new coffee shop alone. I finished the prototypes in late March. Early mornings, late nights, soft music, numbing shoulders. I filmed my hands for TikTok, the needle burrowing steady, captions like, "We don't need new plastic to feel new." Views trickled. Orders from friends of friends. An email from a boutique in Alberta Street asking for a small run. I was proud in a quiet way. Not fireworks, but a candle you cup so the wind doesn't get it. 2 weeks later, I walked into Haven and Hearth. If you're not from the Pacific Northwest, imagine a big box retailer that smells like eucalyptus and baked wool. White shelving, baskets you never knew you needed, signage in reassuring fonts about conscious choices. A place where taste is half price and ethics are a selling point, almost. I wasn't there to shop. I was there because my friend Maya texted, "Have you seen this? Are you collaborating?" And then a photo of a bag that looked like mine the way a mirror looks like you. Same proportions. Same angled front pocket with a hidden magnetic snap. Same split strap detail I fought with for a week to get the tension right. The only obvious difference was the tag. Haven and Hearth called theirs Everline. Ever, as in, forever, trash? I muttered, stepping under the fluorescent kindness of the entrance. The store was warm, but my fingers were cold. I found the display near the cafe candles, a row of carryalls in 3 colors: sage, charcoal, rust. The sage matched my swatch number 14 so closely I touched it to be sure. My stomach dipped. "Can I help you find anything?" a sales associate asked, cheerfully unaware she was standing in the smoking crater of my shock. "I'm just looking," I said. My throat felt like it had swallowed dust. I lifted the bag, let it sit in my hands. The specs were off by millimeters, but the language was fluent. They'd kept the tiny dart that tames the profile, the inside key leash, even the hidden back zip that kisses your spine. And the hang tag, oh, the hang tag sang, "Made with sustainable leather alternative and plastic-free packaging." Sustainable leather alternative, plastic-free packaging. I knew the suppliers who had those phrases locked and loaded in their decks. I knew the ones who meant it, and the ones who used the words like window dressing. The pineapple leather I used had a distinct crosshatch, almost like a thumbprint. This had a smoother sheen, suspiciously consistent. I flipped the bag, searching the seams for the manufacturer's tells. The stitches were tidy, but machine perfect. Mass production. My favorite trait was gone, the slightly crooked kiss of a human hand. I didn't cry. I did the thing my body does when my heart tips, my jaw sets, my hands go clinical. I took pictures. I took video. I kneeled on the shiny floor to get the label in close-up, prompting a couple browsing throw blankets to glance over, curious. I bought the bag with shaking fingers. At home, I ripped into it like an autopsy. The lining was polyester. The sustainable leather alternative was a polyurethane blend with a cork veneer, the thin decorative layer that makes plastic look like it grew on a tree. The care instructions were a PR poem. Wipe with a damp cloth. Love for a lifetime. I laughed. Then I couldn't stop. It wasn't a healthy cinematic laugh, but a weird, brittle sound that broke into a sob because it felt like I had been erased. Who gets to own an idea? In fashion, nobody and everybody. You can't trademark a rectangle with straps, but you can recognize a signature. You can feel it like a punch. I pulled up my documentation. Date stamps, process clips, sketches with coffee stains. The split strap experiment dated February 3rd, the angled pocket pattern finalized March 11th, the cork grain tests on March 18th. I scrolled and felt something hot and steady rebuilding inside me. Maya FaceTimed. They copied you, she said, face tight. Like, even the stupid little dart I teased you about. Yep. Are you going to? What do people do? Lawsuit? Do I have $1 million for a lawyer? I asked. My voice was flat. No. And even if I did, it's gray. It's vibes, aesthetic theft. Then expose them, she said. Girl, you document, use it. Her confidence found the shaky parts of me. I opened a new folder. Everline versus Second Nature. Side-by-side photos. Zooms of stitching. A video of me peeling the cork veneer back from the plastic like wallpaper. The rage burned clean as alcohol, but underneath, grief simmered. Grief for the nights I slept on my cutting table to meet my own deadlines. Grief for the way my mother lifted my prototypes with careful pride, asking which color would suit the library. Grief because an idea that felt like a diary entry was now a billboard, declawed, and multiplied. I needed air. Outside, the rain had eased to a mist that made the city look airbrushed. I walked to the river and stood under the bridge, listening to traffic sigh overhead. A jogger's dog wagged at me like we were old friends. Somewhere downriver, a barge horned. I'm not crazy, I told the water. You're not, a voice said behind me. I turned. It was Leo, who ran the screen print shop downstairs. He had a smudge of navy ink on his cheek, and that gentle way of making eye contact that doesn't pin you. We'd traded favors. He pressed my logo for a test run. I mended his backpack. You saw? I asked. Everyone saw, he said, a wry tilt. Maya's TikTok? It's at like 200K already. My stomach lurched again. She posted? I think she was trying to get you to answer. She kept it vague, but people are already connecting dots. I cursed under my breath. I loved Maya's fire, but I wanted control. Control is how you don't drown. Leo leaned on the railing. You going to say something? I'm going to say everything, I said. But right, with receipts. He nodded. If you need anything. My cousin writes for an eco-blog. He's intense. In a good way. Send me his contact, I said, the words tasting like a plan. Back in the studio, I set up lights. I arranged my prototypes on the table, laid the Haven and hearth bag beside them. I did my face because I didn't want the pity of looking as wrecked as I felt. Then, I hit record. Hi, I said to the lens. I'm Reese. I make bags that are supposed to make the planet feel a little less bruised. And I want to tell you a story about a bag called Second Nature, and a line called Everline, and the distance between sustainable and sustainable looking. I walked through it like a surgeon, precise and kind, until I didn't have to be. I showed the patterns I drafted in January, the video of me trimming a curve on March 3rd, the raw edges on the prototype that would become the split strap. I set the Haven bag on the table and peeled back the cork veneer, exposing the plastic like bone. This, I said softly, is what they call leather alternative. It's not compostable. It's not cutting edge. It's plastic dressed for church. I am Slook. I didn't accuse them of stealing the design outright. I talked about timelines. About how small designers become mood boards for big teams. About how a seam is a signature. About greenwashing, the performance of care without the cost. When I finished, my hands were shaking. I saved the file. I scheduled it for tomorrow at 9 a.m. because I wanted the night to sleep. I texted Maya. Yes, I'll speak. Please hold your fire till morning. Love you. She sent back 7 heart emojis like flares. I brewed tea. The studio creaked, settled, breathed with me. Subject: friendly heads up from inside H&H. My body went still. I clicked. From anonymous at tempinbox.io to Reese at secondnaturebags.com. Message: if you plan to go public, know this. The Everline isn't what they say it is. I can prove it. But you didn't hear it from me. Check the supplier list in the attached doc. You'll want to look at line 12. And whatever you do, don't mention the river. My mouse hovered over the attachment. The file name was bland, corporate. Materials, sourcing, Q2, XLSX. My heart thudded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. The river. What did that mean? They knew I was in Portland. Everybody knows Portland is a character in every story we tell. Was this a joke? A trap? A gift? I glanced at the Haven bag, sitting on my table like an intruder, pretending to nap. I clicked the file. What opened made my mouth go dry. Line 12 was a supplier I recognized, but not from the list of eco-pioneers. It was from a Superfund case study I'd read last year, about chemical runoff, the kind that turns water black. And there, in the notes column, was a 3-letter acronym that made my stomach drop through the floor. FAS. I stared at it until the letters blurred, my tea cooling untouched. Every choice I made tried to pull toward a future with fewer toxins, fewer lies, and if Everline's forever was literally forever chemicals. The light outside shifted, dusk smudging the windows. A siren combed the air far away. My phone vibrated again. Unknown number. A text this time. If you want to stop them, meet me tomorrow. 8 a.m. Tillicum Bridge, South Side. Come alone. My thumb hovered over the keys. My camera, still on its tripod, watched me like a witness. I took a breath, felt the anger gather into something like courage, and typed back one word. Where? The 3 dots bubbled, then nothing. Silence tunneled the room, long and paper-thin. I closed my eyes and saw the river again, dark and moving, carrying secrets under the bridges. I opened my eyes to the screen, the spreadsheet still open like an accusation. My scheduled post sat in the queue, waiting for morning, and I realized that if I hit publish now, I might scare my anonymous friend back into the walls. But if I waited, Haven and Hearth would move first. I reached for the mouse. I didn't sleep. I lay on the studio couch, listening to the heater tick and the trucks on MLK slice the night thin. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the spreadsheet cells glowing like a hospital monitor. Line 12. Whispering forever. At 7:12 a.m., the sky was an iron lid. Portland does gray like a love language. I stuffed the Haven bag into my tote, packed my notebook, a portable charger, and a pen that wouldn't betray me. I slid my phone into airplane mode, then chickened out and turned it back on. The Tillicum Bridge was a pale ribbon over the river, empty of cars, only trains, bikes, and feet. My feet. A couple walked their husky, coffee steam ghosting from their cups. The city skyline looked like it was holding its breath. South Side, the text had said. I tucked my hair into my beanie and walked to the midpoint. The water below was a slow muscle. Reese. I turned. A person in a navy windbreaker, hood up. Mid-30s, maybe. Sharp eyes that had learned to clock badges and memos. They kept their hands in their pockets like they understood pockets could be bugs. You texted me? I said, voice light because fear makes me pretend I'm at a cocktail party. Do you always open with "don't mention the river"? Very noir, a ghost of a smile. I'm Alex. Gender-neutral name, inconclusive. Their voice, low, steady. I can't stay long, Alex said, glancing past me. They monitor, more than you'd guess. They being Haven and Hearth, I said, and the words made a little echo in the open air. Alex nodded. Everline is a rush job, top down. They wanted a sustainability hit before Q3. The brief was optics heavy, budget light. I noticed, I said. By how it squeaks. Another almost smile. Line 12 is an old supplier. They rebranded last year. No public tie to PFAS, but they never fixed their process. The don't mention the river thing, there's a discharge route outside their factory. It's not here. Different river, but if you connect it, you'll get sued into ash. My mouth went dry. So why tell me? Because I started there as an idealist, Alex said. And last week my niece's science class talked about forever chemicals like weather, and I felt sick. They took a breath. You have documentation, you're careful. You won't nuke people you don't need to. H&H will pretend this is about design, aesthetics, or inspiration. It's not. It's rot. I studied them. The wind knifed up my sleeves. Prove it. Alex produced a folded printout from their pocket, old school. This is an internal memo. It doesn't mention PFAS outright, but it references fluorinated performance coating on the Everline exterior to increase stain resistance. The legal note says, within allowable limits. I scanned the page. Corporate fonts. Passive voice. The phrase sat there like a nailhead. Can I keep this? I asked. Alex hesitated. You didn't get it from me. Obviously, I said. You're a ghost who likes bridges. They finally laughed. A short, surprised bark. Then, their face narrowed. They also know about you. There's a social listening deck with your name on it. Your friend Maya's video gave them the heads up. They're prepping a statement. We support independent designers. You can fill in the rest. I looked out at the river, at the smooth pretend of it. I was going to post last night. I didn't. I scheduled for 9, and then paused. Good, Alex said. Go surgical. If you aim at PFAS directly, they'll bury you in NDAs and claim safety compliance. But if you show the coding and ask questions about what fluorinated means, the blogs will chew it. Blogs, I said, a plan snapping into focus. Do you know Priya Dhawan at EcoClarity? Everyone knows Priya, Alex said, grim amusement in their mouth. She's a hawk. I have her number. I lied, then corrected myself. I can get her number. I have to go, Alex said, scanning the bridge again, posture drawing tight. I'll text you a secure drop. If I can get more, I will. But, they met my eyes. Don't wait for me to save you. Something in my chest shifted back into place. I wasn't planning on it. Alex turned, then paused. One more thing. If they call you for a conversation, they'll offer a collaboration that smells like lavender and hush money. Don't take it. Wouldn't dream of it, I said, though the thought of their legal team made my skin prickle. They left, a careful figure swallowed by a city that doesn't ask questions out loud. I stood there another minute, the empty bridge suddenly loud. The river was a sheet of pewter, PFAS, fluorinated, within allowable limits. The phrases felt like smooth stones I could sling. On my way back, my phone buzzed so hard it jumped in my pocket. Unknown, we value indie creators. Would love to hop on a call to discuss how we can support your journey. Zoe, brand partnerships, Haven, and Hearth. Of course. I didn't text back. I called Leo. I need Priya, I said when he picked up. Your cousin. The eco-blog guy. Anyone who likes receipts more than vibes. Already on it, he said. Priya's DMs are feral, but Rahul, that's my cousin, has her editor's email. Come by? I'm on my way. The print shop smelled like ink and ambition. Leo waved me to a back table, clearing screens and squeegees. He was already tapping on his laptop. Okay, Priya's editor is Lila. Lila is famously allergic to greenwashed press releases. If you give her verifiable stuff, she'll frontline it. I set down the Haven bag and the memo. I have a maybe smoking memo, and I can show the coding, but I don't have lab results. PFAS testing isn't a kitchen experiment. Rahul might know a university lab that does pro bono for whistleblower stories, Leo said. Also, this is spicy. He held up the memo. My hands shook, a fine tremor. I'm not trying to nuke a random manager. I want the practice exposed. Then aim at the practice, Leo said. The system. The demand that eco means stain-proof and Instagram-friendly. I nodded, heart beating against my ribs like it wanted a new apartment. I'm going to reshoot my video. Tighter, no accusations, just show and ask. Good, he said. And Reese, eat something. You argue better when you've had carbs. I wolfed 2 of his emergency granola bars like a raccoon. Back at the studio, I wrote a script. Short paragraphs, clear beats, cuts between my prototypes and the Everline. I shot the close-ups, water beating off their coated surface, water soaking into my cork like it's supposed to, leaving a dark patch that dries honest. I narrated the memo without showing names. I asked, what does fluorinated performance mean for a bag that calls itself Forever Loving the Planet? I sent a cut to Lila with the subject line, verification request Everline coding. I attached the memo, the spreadsheet screenshot of line 12 with the supplier blurred but visible enough to cross-reference, and a PDF of my prototype timeline. Lila replied in 15 minutes. Lila. Reese. This is compelling. We'll need a second source on the coding. Can you swab and send to Cascadia Use ChemLab? I'll CC Dr. Morales. He's an expert on PFAS in consumer goods. Also, can you hold public posts for 6 hours? Give us time to validate and package responsibly. My stomach dipped. Hold? The window where the internet cares is a bubble. But a second source would anchor me. Me. I'll hold for 6. Sending samples now. Thank you. I printed the shipping label Lila attached, cut small squares from the inside seam of the Everline bag. My hands felt like I was cutting into evidence and sealed them in the kit. As I was printing, my email pinged again. Subject: immediate action required, defamation concerns. From legal@havenhearth.com. It read like a velvet threat. They'd seen speculative content about their Everline collection. They respect independent creators, but false claims would be met with appropriate action. It ended with an offer to discuss alignment opportunities. My mouth filled with that metallic taste anger brings. I forwarded it to Lila and Rahul. Then I breathed. In. Out. In. Out. The door buzzer sounded. I jumped. Maya barreled in, cheeks pink, hair in a high knot, fury like perfume. Okay, first of all, are you okay? Second, I'm sorry I posted before I asked. Third, look. She shoved her phone at me. Her video was at 800K. The comments were a bonfire. People posting their H&H bags, former employees hinting at copy rooms, a mod reminding folks not to dox. I'm okay, I said, surprising myself with how true it felt. We're going strategic. We're sending samples to a lab. We've got a journalist. Maya sat, eyes round, adrenaline softened by relief. You're a machine. I'm a blender, I said. Everything's loud and sharp, but there will be smoothies. She snorted. What do you need? Amplify the ask, I said. No tagging H&H yet. Focus on what does fluorinated mean. Ask if forever in their name is a joke we shouldn't laugh at. On it, she said, thumbs already spelling spells. At 4, a courier took the samples. At 5:30, Lila emailed. Received. Dr. Morales can turn a preliminary on coding type by tomorrow a.m. But full PFAS screening takes a few days. N. A few days in internet time is a century. I pushed the thought away. 6 hours from Lila's first email ticked toward completion like a fuse. I opened YouTube Studio, fingers hovering over publish. My phone rang. Zoe, from Brand Partnerships. I let it go to voicemail. Then, I listened. Hi Reese, Zoe said, voice with the crisp shine of a new tote. We're sorry for any distress. We'd love to fly you to our headquarters to collaborate on a capsule that reflects your values. We can do a give back. A big feature on our homepage. Let's turn this into a positive. I replayed it 3 times. Each time, the collaborate twisted. Hush money with a bow. I dragged the voicemail into a folder, labeled Lavender. At 6:08 p.m., Lila texted, you can post your video, keep it to process plus questions. We'll publish our piece at 7 with Dr. Morales' comments on fluorinated coatings in consumer goods. No PFAS claims yet. We'll update when lab confirms. My thumb hovered over the screen. I thought of my mother asking which color she'd take to the library. Of Alex on the bridge, wind in their hood. Of Maya setting the internet on fire for me because she can't not. Of Leo's steady hands, I hit publish. This speedily with Thusner and the thing spotless. As a five her Thusner with a spige. The comments started in seconds, tiny fish becoming a school. Thank you for receipts. I bought this last week, what do I do? Is this legal? Brand stealing from indie creators is a trend and I hate it. What the heck is fluorinated? Forever chemicals? My DMs filled. A designer in Austin, a buyer in Seattle, a production manager in Shenzhen, with a burner account. You're right about the coding. We call it spill magic. Then, my inbox chimed again. From press@havenhearth.com. Subject: statement regarding Everline. They were going live, too. Their words would be lacquered, careful. They would say, "We hear you." They would say, "We're proud of our commitment." They would say, "We're investigating." I clicked, and I realized, with a cold bloom in my stomach, that their second paragraph named me. While we've seen a video from one designer, it began, we want to reassure customers that our materials meet all safety standards. A subtle shove, but a shove. Put the target on one woman's back. Frame it as a lone voice against a chorus. I looked up at the camera, still perched on its tripod like a lighthouse. Okay, I whispered to the empty room that wasn't empty anymore. You want a chorus? I grabbed my phone, opened my contact list, and started dialing the other eco-designers I knew. Rivals, friends, strangers whose work I'd admired in the quiet. If this was going to be a song, it had to be loud. The first call went to voicemail. The second picked up on the first ring. "Reese?" a voice said, wary and wired. "I've been waiting for you to call." I took a breath. "Do you want to make this the last time they do this?" "Absolutely." My notifications exploded like popcorn, a relentless, cheerful violence. Lila's article pinged live. The headline was surgical. The comments were already growing teeth. My phone buzzed again this time. A text from Alex. "Check your drop." I opened the secure folder. There, newly uploaded, was a photo of a pallet in a warehouse. Boxes, stenciled with a supplier's logo I recognized too well, and taped to the side, a manifest sheet with a handwritten note. Everline expedite to stores by Friday. Wet batch. Wet batch. My fingers went cold. If it was wet, it wasn't fully cured. And if it wasn't fully cured, the coating might be shedding into everything it touched. I stared at the photo until my tea went cold. Wet batch. 2 words. Harmless in a grocery store. Lethal in manufacturing. It meant the coating hadn't set. It meant people were touching, carrying, maybe even smelling a product that was still bleeding chemicals, and Haven and Hearth was expediting those bags to stores. I zoomed in on the photo Alex sent. The handwriting on the manifest looked rushed, thick black marker, probably a foreman's note. The timestamp in the corner of the image, 2 days ago. So this wasn't history. It was now. 7:45 p.m. The rain had started again, steady and unforgiving. My studio lights buzzed, a faint halo against the gray. My phone was vibrating non-stop notifications from YouTube, TikTok, Lila's article link circulating, Maya's face popping up in a dozen reposts saying, "This is bigger than a design ripoff." She was right. This wasn't about credit anymore. It was about consequences. I messaged Alex. "Me. Got it. Can I verify this photo?" Alex. "No metadata. Taken with internal camera. But yes, it's real. That warehouse is in Salem. Don't post it raw. Crop the tag. Or, they'll trace it." Me. "People are touching these bags." Alex. "I know. That's why you have to move carefully." Carefully. That word had kept me small my whole life. 9:02 p.m. Maya arrived with her laptop and a look like she'd swallowed a lightning bolt. "Reese, we're trending. Number Everline Exposed is number 4 on TikTok." "That's great," I said, though my voice didn't sound like it belonged to me. "But it's not over. Look." I showed her the photo. Her jaw dropped. "They're still shipping this? You have to post it." "I can't." Alex said no, metadata H&H will trace it. They'll know there's a leak. Maya frowned. So, blur it, redraw it, make it a schematic. That gave me an idea. I grabbed my sketchbook, the one with all my early second nature drawings, and started sketching the photo in rough graphite lines. Boxes, arrows, a scrawled wet batch label. I labeled it based on verified documentation in block letters at the bottom. If they wanted deniability, fine. I'd give them art. 10:12 p.m. Leo stopped by with Thai food and moral support. He looked at the sketch, eyebrows rising. You're making evidence poetic. I respect that. I smiled weakly. Starving artist energy. Right? That is not with the Charlie and what is one. The mame saved entering a decade of mine. And for the taken, in different way. More like a general planning a counter-strike, he said. Also, my cousin Rahul says Eco-Clarity's engagement numbers tripled after Lila's piece. Everyone's waiting for your next move. I'm not dropping anything else until Dr. Morales confirms the PFAS, I said. But I can show this. Without claiming what it means, just ask the right question. Smart. Let them connect the dots. I ate a forkful of cold noodles and pulled up my camera again. The video take 2. Hey, it's Reese again, I began, hands visible, calm but firm. Some of you asked what fluorinated means. Turns out, it can mean a lot. Sometimes it means stain resistant, sometimes it means forever chemicals. Sometimes it means both. I turned the sketch toward the camera. This is a diagram of something I received today. It's from a domestic warehouse, processing a shipment of Everline bags. One note on the manifest caught my eye. Wet batch. I paused, letting the phrase breathe. When coatings are wet, they're unstable. It's like baking. If you cut into it too soon, it bleeds. So the question is, what's bleeding here? And where does it end up? I looked straight into the lens. I don't have the answer yet, but we're going to find out together. I ended it there. No drama, no tears, just truth with teeth. Midnight. I uploaded the video. It hit 50,000 views before I'd even brushed my teeth. Comments came in waves. Wet batch, that sounds bad. I work in retail. Ours smelled weird out of the box. Girl, you just ended a billion-dollar brand. But one comment stuck out. PFAS isn't just bad for people, it's bad for water. Portland wastewater treatment can't even filter that out. You think your river's safe? The river, again. Always the river. The next morning, I woke to my phone buzzing violently against the nightstand. 20 missed calls. 3 from unknown numbers. 1 from Lila, and 1 from a number I didn't recognize, but it had a 503 Portland area code. I answered. Reese Vale? Yes? This is Detective Markson, Portland PD Environmental Crimes Unit. You posted something last night that mentioned possible hazardous materials being distributed. Can we talk? I sat up. You saw the video? Everyone saw the video, he said dryly. We've had calls from employees too. Off the record, I like your fire. On the record, if you have documentation that confirms this, you need to share it. Quietly. I can send you the memo and the spreadsheet redacted. That'll do. And Reese? Yeah? Be careful. When corporations get scared, they stop pretending to be friendly. He hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, trying to decide whether to feel validated or terrified. 9:45 a.m. Lila called next. We got the lab results. Preliminary confirms the coating is fluoropolymer-based. Morales says PFAS is highly probable. We're publishing a follow-up in 20 minutes. My throat closed. That's confirmation. Enough for public concern, yes. We're naming the supplier as unverified for now, but the evidence trail is solid. Are you ready for this to blow open? I swallowed. No. But post it anyway. Done. And Reese? Lila's voice softened. You did good. You're not crazy. You're right. When I hung up, I realized my hands were shaking. I pressed them against the table until the tremors stopped. 10:10 a.m. The Eco-Clarity article went live. Forever chemicals, forever lies, what's really inside Haven, and Hearth's Everline bags. The piece was a scalpel. Lila's work combined receipts, lab data, and quotes from Dr. Morales. The headline trended on Twitter within an hour. Customers filmed themselves returning Everline bags, tagging H&H with captions like, "Forever Toxic." The comment sections were chaos. PR accounts tried to redirect. Influencers weighed in. A sustainability consultant offered to mediate. And then, at 12:04 p.m., Haven and Hearth released a new statement. The statement. They called it an update on Everline. They announced a temporary recall. They cited manufacturing inconsistencies. No apology. No PFAS mention. Just manufacturing inconsistencies. And the last line burned itself into my brain. We thank the independent creators and concerned citizens who helped us identify this issue. Haven and Hearth remains committed to transparency and sustainability. They were spinning it. Using my story as their halo, Maya was the first to text. Maya, girl, they're taking credit for your exposure? Me, of course they are. Maya, what are you gonna do? Me, take back the narrative. 2:30 p.m. I went live. Hey everyone, I said, voice steady, though my heart felt like static. You might have seen Haven and Hearth's recall statement. You might have noticed they thanked independent creators. That's me. Hi. I smiled. It wasn't friendly. It was surgical. I didn't do this for a thank you. I did it because I refused to let sustainability be a costume brands wear for profit. I'm not a partner. I'm not a collaborator. I'm a designer who documented everything, and receipts don't lie. I held up the Haven bag. Everline was supposed to mean forever love. Turns out, it means forever chemicals. The chat exploded. Heart emojis. Angry emojis. And then, in the middle of the flood, a comment pinned itself to the top. Someone I didn't know. Check your DMs. I worked for the supplier. You don't know the half of it. 3:10 p.m. The message was waiting in my inbox. A photo of industrial vats labeled Floor X Compound C. A safety sheet warning. Avoid contact with skin or water systems. Long-term exposure risk to aquatic life. Attached. A note. They dump the excess into the Willamette runoff. That's what "don't mention the river" means. I sat back in my chair. The Willamette, my river. Our river. My breath came shallow. I could hear rain again. Soft against the glass. The city was washing itself, but what if it couldn't? I texted Alex. Me. I know what they meant about the river. Alex. Then you know why I'm scared. Me. You shouldn't have to do this alone. None of us should. Alex. Then don't. Make noise. And that's when I realized the shape of my revenge had changed. It wasn't about punishing them anymore. It was about exposing them so loudly they couldn't silence anyone ever again. I looked at my camera, then at the Haven bag, then out the window where the river cut through the heart of the city like a wound that never healed. Tomorrow I'd go to Salem, to the warehouse, to the place where the water met the chemicals. But tonight, I had one more video to make. I thought I was fighting for my designs, I said softly to the camera. Turns out, I'm fighting for my city. The video cut to black. The rain came sideways the next morning. The kind that blurs headlights and makes every color feel heavier. I loaded my gear into Leo's van camera, gloves, extra battery packs, a waterproof notebook. He insisted on driving. Maya insisted on coming. You're not sneaking into a corporate warehouse alone like some eco-Batman, she said, tightening her rain jacket. We're a team now. I didn't argue. Salem was an hour south. The highway, gray and glistening. My pulse stayed high the whole ride. Every road sign felt like a countdown. At 9:43 a.m., we pulled into the industrial district. Rows of corrugated steel, faded logos, the air thick with chemical sweetness. I recognized the one from Alex's photo instantly, the teal letters spelling Florione Industrial Coatings. Subtle, Maya muttered. We parked behind a chain-link fence near a side access road. Leo adjusted his camera. We stay on public land. No trespassing, no arrests. Got it, I said. We document, not invade. The warehouse. Through the rain, we saw forklifts moving pallets wrapped in plastic. A loading bay door was half open. I zoomed in and caught it rows of Everline boxes, identical to the photo Alex sent. Still shipping, Leo said quietly. I filmed from the fence line, narrating low. This is the Salem warehouse linked to Haven and Hearth's Everline line. We're not breaking in, just observing. Then Maya grabbed my sleeve. Look. A drainage pipe behind the building gushed pale water into a culvert that fed a tributary of the Willamette. The runoff was white. Not milky, not muddy white. My stomach flipped. Leo set the camera rolling. Do you want to say it? I nodded. What you're seeing is discharge water from the coating process. If fluorinated chemicals are involved, this is how they reach the river. This is why people like Alex said, don't mention the river. Because the river remembers everything we pour into it, Maya whispered. We need a sample. She had a mason jar in her bag because of course she did. We filled it carefully, labeled it with the time and coordinates. The water smelled faintly metallic. Then, a shout. Hey, what the hell are you doing there? A man in a neon vest jogged toward the fence, face red, holding a walkie-talkie. Public property, Leo called back, calm but loud. Turn that off, the man barked. I didn't. I held my ground, the camera steady on the fence. We're documenting visible runoff for the Environmental Crimes Unit. This is evidence of public concern. He froze at the words, environmental crimes. Then he turned and disappeared back into the building. Time to go, Leo said. We drove off fast, hearts slamming in sync. The drive back. The van smelled like adrenaline and wet canvas. None of us spoke for a while. Finally, Maya said, You realize we just filmed a crime scene, right? I nodded. And we have to make sure it doesn't vanish. I called Detective Markson, my voice trembling but controlled. We have footage of potential PFAS runoff from a warehouse tied to Haven and Hearth. I'm sending coordinates and video right now, he said. I'm dispatching DEQ officers to secure the site. You three need to stay clear, but thank you, Miss Vale. You might have just cracked a major case. I hung up and stared out the window. The rain had thinned to mist. The river followed us north, dark and endless beside the road. When we reached Portland, my phone was a battlefield of notifications. Lila's new article. Runoff and recall. Everline contamination may reach Oregon waterways. Hashtags everywhere. Number. Forever chemicals. Number. Greenwashing exposed. Number. Reese veiled truth. And then an email from Haven and Hearth CEO herself. Subject. Cease and desist. Immediate action required. Miss Vale, your latest social media activity contains unverified and defamatory allegations. Cease all publication and remove related content within 24 hours, or we will pursue legal remedies. Maya read over my shoulder. They're scared. Leo grinned. Good. But my hands were cold. The night upload. I sat alone in my studio at midnight. Portland slept under rain. I opened my camera and pressed record. Hi, I said softly. It's been a week since I found out Haven and Hearth copied my design. Since then, we've learned their eco line wasn't just imitation, it was contamination. I held up the jar of cloudy runoff. This is what we filmed today. From their supplier's drainage pipe, the Oregon DEQ has confirmed an investigation. So, if they try to silence me, if this video disappears, you'll know why. I paused, heart in my throat. This isn't just my story anymore. It's Portland's. It's anyone who believes the word sustainable should mean something. I won't stop talking. Not for money, not for fear. Then, quietly, not for them. I hit upload. Within hours, it exploded. Millions of views, news channels picking it up, tweets from environmental groups, celebrities, even a senator. And buried in the noise, a message from Alex. You did it. They're raiding the warehouse. Be proud. Be safe, I cried then, for the first time in days. Real, heavy tears that smelled like salt and release. 2 weeks later, the city felt different. Haven and Hearth announced a full recall and suspended Everline indefinitely. The CEO stepped down. Stock prices dipped, then fell off a cliff. The Oregon Department of Environmental Quality confirmed PFAS contamination at the Salem facility. Federal investigators opened an inquiry. And me? I was suddenly the story. Local news crews camped outside my studio, podcasts called, morning shows emailed. My follower count ballooned overnight. It should have felt like victory. But mostly, I felt tired. The aftermath. When I walked by the river now, I thought about all the unseen things beneath it. The chemicals, yes. But also the courage it takes to drag truth to the surface. Maya teased me for getting recognized at coffee shops. Leo kept joking about making Team Reese shirts. And Alex? They disappeared again. No more texts. No secure drops. Just silence. I liked to think they were safe. One afternoon, Detective Markson called. They traced the leak to a mid-level manager who falsified coding safety reports. Without your footage, we wouldn't have gotten a warrant. You probably saved a lot of people, a lot of poison. I smiled faintly. That's good to hear. He paused. You okay, Miss Vale? I looked at the river. Getting there. The new collection. I renamed my brand. Not Second Nature. That name belonged to the girl who thought sustainability was about fabric. Now, it was deep current for the things we can't see until we stir the water. The first bag from the line was simple. Raw canvas, uncoated, stamped in small, black type. Truth doesn't wash off. All profits went to an Oregon watershed cleanup fund. The pre-orders sold out in 2 days. The last video. I sat in front of my camera again. But this time there was no tremor in my voice. Hey, it's Reese. Some of you have followed this whole journey from design theft to chemical scandal. I wanted to close the loop. I held up one of my new bags. This isn't revenge, it's reclamation. Revenge burns out fast. Truth lasts. I leaned closer to the lens. If you're watching this and you've ever been silenced, copied, dismissed, remember this. You don't have to scream to be heard. You just have to keep your receipts, stay patient, and shine light where they least want it. I smiled. That's how you change the story. Fade out. Epilogue. A month later, I got a postcard in the mail. No return address. Just 3 words scrawled across the back. The river's healing. I pinned it above my work table, next to the first sketch of the bag that started it all. Outside, the rain came gentle this time. And for the first time in a long while, I let it fall without flinching.